We're kind of telling the world through what is being done that we're not civilized. And to us, some of us old people, it's still unfortunate.
Okay.
Yep.
Still talking about this, when, in what instances should Ugandans expect to see now the JAT team coming up?
The JAT are also described as a joint, it is an anti-terrorism. Anti-terrorism. What terrorism is in young men running around in red? These are children, allow them some kind of course not all the space, but allow them some space. They are children, let them just play around and have the feel of some little power. I wouldn't look at them as terrorists, really. They are people, they're trying to, these are Bavubuka, you know Bavubuka? We will do so many things because they are trying the world, they are feeling the world. When the Vuka sits on the border, he wants to get 120. But you tell him, you keep on showing him that that's not the way to go. And we are the ones to shape them. They should not shape us. So if they make us fight, act desperate, I think then we are putting this country upside down. And I don't think it's really necessary.
Isn't this alluded or an after event of what happened from the time the NUP and their party leader, when they had a parade, and then their party leader inspected as it happens, and then eventually we see the security team getting into the head office, and they are trying to carry out some investigations, and then eventually we see this happening. Isn't it an after event of that probably they still have a question on the operations of this party? But
let me just give a simple example. I've seen my children sometimes play like there is a wedding, they are cooking. Can I start attacking them, think that they're creating a home within a home, a house, an administration within an administration? You see, children, they even get kadali, they put on gowns, they pick flowers or from the bush, they even cook some camel, and it's like they're trying to feel that we are now married, tata, mama, and can the father come and step in the food and kick the children? What I'm saying is this. We should know where this country has come from, and we should know where. If we do not know where this country came from, we may never know where this country is going. Yes, they have done that. You have many ways of telling. If you believe they have gone, of course, you wouldn't allow children to say tuzanye vya tata ne mama, and then you see them locking themselves up in the house. Then you come in as a parent, but in a way that is educative, not in a way that you crush them. Let's just get to understand, do we need to build the politics in this country? If the answer is yes, then we should allow politics some place. If the answer is no, then let's be very clear and say no politics, let's just move. We can even say let's now just have a military government. But if we have not said that, let's be tolerant. I know sometimes, of course, I've seen some excesses on the side of opposition, more especially the way sometimes they get very abusive. And we have always said, please, we have to teach them, because they are our children, they are our people. Can we teach them how to communicate? And say, if you want something, you don't insult. By insulting, you also indicate that you may not have character. So it's just a question of teaching one another.
Okay. Well, we are taking a short commercial break. When we return, we are going to continue, especially with what this has to signify of the upcoming general elections. We are coming back shortly.
Issues at hand. This is Church of Uganda Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission. This is Church of Uganda Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission. Issues at hand.
Welcome back from that break. We are continuing with issues at hand, and we are looking at the security, especially in the elections. And of course, before the break, we are still looking at the issue of JET, because this has been a talk of town up to now. The way they treat the journalists, the way they have treated the Mwananchi. We have had a question, Mr. Egesa. There's been a question that these people are inhuman in the way they react to people. Is that how they're supposed to be? Is that how they're supposed to act when they get into the field?
Of course, if you say JAT, then we have classified them as a kind of a force against terrorism. So definitely, they are selected among the several forces we have, and they are given special trainings to deal with terrorists, to deal with hardcore, very armed criminals or very armed gangsters. So in one way or the other, they definitely get special training, and sometimes even their command structure is a bit different. So of course they have a center where I think where they come from, but we cannot say we don't know them. One, secondly, we would say these people are not trained to deal with simple riots, simple unarrests. They should deal with hard situations. You can see they came in full gear, even masked, because they're going
you could hardly tell.
Exactly, they came to, because the situation is for them, they deal with terrorists, and now they are put to deal with children. The people who don't want to destroy, because in policing, police is a mother. It is supposed to deal with human beings reservedly. The army may be a bit extra, because with them they deal with the enemy. It's only recently that the two have kind of trained together to kind of consolidate their training and come up with it. So they are creating several products. That's why I say we have family protection, we have this and this and this and the other in the police. So if we say that part of the JAT is police, then the fiber of goodness, the fiber of simplicity, the fiber of civil security and civil guarding has to be exhibited. So if you just leave them as JAT and they have their own command, then what they are doing is what they're supposed to do, but on who? They're supposed to do it on a terrorist. I don't think we had terrorists there within. You could see they were pulling someone. They have come out to fight and almost die. they expect even to be shot but literally, good planning in security forces demands that you should know what you're going to meet. You should have some good intelligence. Did they expect these guys to be armed? Did they expect them to be very lethal? Did they expect them to do what? And because why do we start with JAT? We could even start with scouts. They repulse them. We bring in lady policemen, lady police, female police officers. Then we keep on raising the force. You know, when you bring in the last force, because okay, in case, let's say, if it was a fight and JAT failed, then what do you bring? Do you call angels from heaven? I think we should stop excesses. These are excesses, and excesses will always spoil a nation. Obote had to leave this country for one reason. If he had gone to the Ruzira, he had built. Yes, maybe they used to be in our own times when we were young people. A minister could have detention orders. He just tell him, Egesa has abused me, signs a detention order, you go. Another one, they reinforced the Luzira maximum security. They made it maximum. So Obote knew that he would not escape. So we are saying that being NRM, being part of the government, doesn't mean that you are blind. You should be even the one who tells the government that this is wrong. What is wrong is wrong. Yes, we are not going to force people to elect the government. You're telling people we are good, please love us. The way you can entice a baby to come to you. You don't grab him, carry him because you have force. No, you let that baby know that you're human, that you're nice, that you're good. Then you find the baby walking back to you.
We've had some politicians allude or allege that it is the opposition actually that is paying JAT to do what it is doing to get a sympathy vote. Is that even possible?
But how can a person say that really? Yeah, I would just wish I knew the persons, because that's
actually prominent people.
What I'm saying, I think they just talk for the sake. You know, you can talk so that people will know that you can talk, and people do not mistake you for a deaf person. How do they? You mean JAT is that cheap that anybody can pay them to do what they're supposed to do? Too, can someone pay that? You never know with politics, anything can happen. But sincerely speaking, should we say that our forces are not out of command? Should we say that our forces are not the government is not in charge of her forces? To me, that is really unfortunate that someone can say that. I believe and feel that the JAT people are part of our forces. If they were deployed, it is unfortunate that they are deployed in an area where they almost had no duty to perform. And they are deployed on people they are not trained to handle. So in the process, for them, they came in full gear, but sincerely speaking, the deployment of JAT was not necessary.
Okay.
Yes.
If we are seeing this for just a by-election in only one constituency, isn't this prophesying doom in the upcoming general elections that are a few months from now?
No, of course. Let's say that is good. It has come up. And then maybe criticism has come up, and there is that kind of self-check to see, is the government going to be forceful on the people, or is the government going to be nice on the people? Should we play fair politics, or should now the forces come in? You remember when Obote involved forces to take over Mutesa, when Amin used the forces to take over Obote, when we have had just destruction and destruction and destruction, because we thought that it's only the forces, it's only the guns that can talk before people get what they want. Now that's how those who kind of colonized us made us to think that we should have power, not respect. But I believe that we can now go back to the drawing board, either way, the opposition and those who are in the middle there, to know that if we are going to kind of design tricks and violence, we are literally killing our own nation.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have seen, of course, very many elections coming through, but at what level should the security be? What would be the maximum security institution deployed for elections? Because elections are soon, and allegations have started coming that people might not turn up because of the fear of these very many uniforms that already surface on polling stations that have already been seen in campaigns.
You can see many uniforms, you can deploy everybody, but they should have clear orders. You know, clear orders means that, think of a situation that you have not deployed JAT, and there is a terrorism act within. That means that it will be a problem. You have seen Americans putting up those snipers as special forces. They are there because in case. Now, you could have, hope you remember the Trump attempted assassination.
Yeah.
They had, if they had only deployed regular forces, that man would have taken his shots many times. Possibly Clinton now will be dead. But because there were some kind of provisions for very special forces, and then light forces, and then usual forces, the situation was handled very easily. Because one is trying to put people together, another one is dealing with the hard enemy. So deployment is okay, but people should not look at deployment. I think the government has a duty here. People should not look at deployment as an aggressor. The deployment should be, people should feel comfortable when they see deployment, because many things happen around elections. There are people who take advantage of the space, and they start grabbing phones and have knives and have this and the other. Yes, so we are saying let there be deployment, but deployment to do what and to deal with what? We should have enough intelligence, enough design. The deployment should be tailored in a way that is going to deal with peace, not to be an aggressor. Yeah.
What other strategies can be employed to ensure security, especially in the upcoming by-election, but also in the general elections?
Of course, we should find the opposition and government should kind of also come up with some kind of joint discussion about how best they can manage their people, because they are their people. Nobody owns all these people. No, it's not government. I wouldn't say NRM, or they belong to NRM, or they belong to opposition. No, what do we want? Leaders lead people. Leaders rule people. So all of us, all the houses want people to be alive, want people to be safe. So there should be some kind of joint discussion. The government should not completely throw away opposition when they're discussing issues of security, because they kind of also add a voice to help their people calm down. Because sometimes some of the issues come out because of poor kind of erratic briefings. If you don't brief your people well, then you can push them into trouble, or they can be pushed into trouble, or they may think that what they are doing is the right thing, and then eventually you lose them. You may go through, or you may get the seat, but when you have lost so many. So it is a kind of, there should be some kind of joint discussion when it comes to security, so that that kind of talking, we should teach ourselves to talk. The opposition should also calm down and tune down, so that they are not a kind of abusive. The state should also not leave them like enemies. They should bring them to say, we have an occasion, we have this and this and the other. How can we go about it for the safety of our people and the nation?
Okay. How do you assess the risk of violation and intimidation during elections and by-elections?
Of course, if you mix politics into security, then there will be intimidation, because security has guns, and nobody will intimidate you. Just, of course, intimidation is either way. I would even say, even the young men can gang and intimidate anybody. But of course, that is kind of short-lived, because they may not have the means to continue and do that. But I always push the government down, because the government has the duty. Some of these young men don't have a duty to protection body, but the government has a duty to protect people. And so in the process, we are saying, let the government be there as a central person, as a central team, as a central force of bringing about peace. And then these issues, let the government politic, let them show what they have done. This time I think the government has done something. The roads are being done at terrific speed and so many things. Let the government talk about those good roads. Let the government talk about, tell the people what they believe they can do. Let the government convince the people. And I'm sure dealing with people well, peacefully, can be an advantage to government.
Okay.
I think I remember, was it yesterday or the other day, when nobody antagonized these young men, and they they felt bad and walked away. Because they're not antagonized, I'm sure they felt bad and walked away, because they're young. I've seen children, when they see something, they want to touch and see. They want to touch and see if it can react. Now, when you don't touch, when they touch you and you keep quiet, they get disappointed. But all the same, they go, and the day closes, we start another day. Yes.
Okay. So this is actually a very good gesture. You talked about. The role that political parties and, of course, civil society organizations and security agencies can play. But is there a possibility that security organs like police in their community policing and other security organs can also come on the ground and create this harmony and talk to the people about the need for security?
It is their duty. It is the duty of government. It is the duty of the police It is and you know, the army and these yards and everybody are complementary forces to the police when it comes to civil protection. So they have a duty to politicize the people. They don't have you don't just come to beat somebody you have not warned. You don't come to, that's what I'm saying, there should be some kind of joint discussions. There should be some kind of common position around security. We should come and there should be talks so that there is some kind of understanding and a way situations, because strife will be there. There is competition, and so everybody will find it in his own way. I hate it when people think that politics is about lying, politics is about using force, yet politics is almost at the helm of managing a state. So we should find better ways. How did Gandhi do it? It was a non-violent kind of approach, and eventually his name will never be erased in the books of politics and history. So it is not about force, it's not about who is foolish and who is wise and this and the other. And I've seen some guys on TV who say, can we have a shouting match? Now, how can you go and, and they are mature people. They come and say, now we are going to shout at each other on TV. Now, why don't you go in the bush and shout from there? I think we're being dogged by a lot of primitivity in this nation, that we do not want to be tolerant, we don't know what to be nice. People, I was very, very unhappy. People were shouting at each other for 10 minutes on TV before the whole world, even their own families, and they are demonstrating that they can shout. Now, let's just make sure that the nation we need is not about antagonism. If we get that point right, then I'm telling you, we can take this world a mile. Okay. If we think that it's about force, human beings are never permanent. No human being is permanent. You'll die with your anger, with your power, with your this, with your that, but the nation will remain. So you'll die with your abuses, insults, and what, but the nation will remain. So let's respect this nation.
Let's talk about abductions. Actually, in today's New Vision, they also wrote about kidnapping. But I think today it is really hard to differentiate between kidnapping and abduction. Where does that all get from? Because a case in point is when they arrested the commonly known chairman Nyazi. And then UPDF eventually, through their spokesperson, says, we didn't abduct him. He was sick and we took him to Bombo for treatment. And that is all we did. So, and this is also creating more tension, the abductions.
You see, maybe I'll start with the statement. There's several times I've been sick and I'm a public person, and I've not seen UPDF carrying me to take me to hospital. So, if they do that, then that's very good of them. But the best way you can kill your family, the best way you can kill an institution, the best way you can kill your business, is when you start giving blatant lies. The state should, the state is superior. It's supreme. You can't come up and say, guess we are arresting you, and I'll walk. I'll go and they lock me up to when they want to release me, and I'll come out. Because I don't have power. If you're fighting the state, you're also fighting your own self. Because I'm a taxpayer. The money which is used to deploy is also money which I also give. So in one way or the other, if you're against this, if you go against the state, you're having issues because you're fighting against your own strength and your own power. Now, abductions. Why do we abduct? Why do we grab a person by force to take him to hospital? Was he a lunatic? Was he taken to hospital? Because yes, the state can restrain anybody they believe is in danger and take him anywhere. But literally, you're not talking to fools. You're talking to Ugandans. Ugandans are bright. Ugandans are well read. Ugandans understand. Let's say there was a situation that Nyaz was wanted somewhere. This little policeman walked before him, wave a card and say, we are policemen, we are arresting you for A, B, C, D. Now, if that is done, then Nyaz has no duty to resist arrest. But if vehicles with the guys in black overalls, as if they are mechanics, as if they are soldiers, follow you and they are pulling you out of the vehicle, then the fighting, the resistance is justified. Now, who made him sick? It is the scuffle that possibly got him hurt. So, in one or the other, let's say that we want a good nation. Let's just be very clear about what we do. Let's say, Nyanzi, we want you for ABCD. If Nyanzi does not appear, and maybe it is that urgent, then police can go and pick him. I will not have a problem with that. But if you're being picked by a man in Madoadoa, you're being picked by a man who has not identified himself, you are being surrounded by guys with very, very, very sophisticated guns. We're going to have a saying that even if you're drowning, you can also punish the water by swallowing some of it. So someone has to fight. Because, but do we want a military state, or do we want a state, do we want to charge the public into a violent, non-respecting society? Then let's just introduce violence. If we want to tame them into people who respect laws and order, let's do the right thing. If you believe anybody should be arrested, anybody apart from maybe His Excellency, everybody is arrestable. Just come and tell him who you are. Now, if he resists 9-9, if he resists police officers in uniform, we will also say, but why does he also resist? Because you can't say, why are you arresting him? You know, they will tell you why they are arresting him. If they tell you, and maybe it is a subject of investigation. Being arrested is not a problem. Being grabbed by force and being pulled out of the vehicle and firing in the air, it is, to me, to say the least, I would say it is even criminal, because you are not displaying civility. You are displaying force. You are displaying anger. So I think we can have a better nation if we do the right things.
Okay.
Yes.
But there is also something, I was reading this from the Minister of Youth and Children's X account, where he was claiming that I think we had the latest abduction or kidnap of the Vice President of UNA. And the minister says that this was a self-kidnap or self-abduction. Someone abducts themselves, and then they come back to accuse the government and to show that the government and that Uganda, the security situation in Uganda is really, really so tense. How possible is that for someone to abduct themselves and then they come up in public and, you know, and accuse the security agencies?
Of course, anything in Uganda can happen. We have seen, you remember, was it Munyagwa or somebody who slaughtered a turkey in his car and then said he had been kidnapped? You know, Ugandans love theater. So sometimes it's a situation of theater. Yes, people can kidnap themselves. People can try to pick what we call public marriage and so many things. You have seen these guys of art. There are times when someone says, they have chased him out of the house, and there's so many things. Kumbe has a show somewhere, so that kind of sympathy vote and so many other things. You have had this one fighting the other, then eventually people go to see this one, and then they are not seeing the other. You know, there is that kind of katemba. But sometimes, if you are going to keep on saying I'm being kidnapped, one day they will kidnap you and people will not follow, only to pick your body, because you are kind of putting yourself in that kind of firing line without even knowing. What we are saying is, sometimes when such a statement comes from the Minister of Children's Affairs, to say the least, I believe that that's a wrong direction. That's a wrong direction. But instead, Balam is my friend. We know each other. Maybe one of these days I'll visit him and talk to him. You know, you cannot be a spokesperson for in all these issues. All pockets, police has a spokesperson, the army has a spokesperson, investigators have a spokesperson. Now, by answering everything, because what you should know, that the public is the main consumer. You will go back to the public whether you want it or not. And sometimes when you are very, very old as me, people will start asking you what you said. You have heard about Kaihura? Saying, nobody calls me. Nobody invite me. Nobody calls me.
There is actually a trending photo that is
when he's walking miserably and things like that. But security. It is very good that several times when I used to be on TV, if you have to check my record, I used to tell him and say, my friend, the public treat people well. Treat people well. The public, at least I'm very happy that when I walk with on a border, I say, Egesa, Because sometimes, when you're antagonistic, when you become insensitive to the public, when you say anything you want to say because you have capacity and you have a gun behind you, that gun one day will not be there. And then it will be you, the man. You'll either answer, and the public does not forgive what you say. That's why we are very, very careful about what we say. Don't say so that tomorrow when the president meets you, he'll literally say you said it well. Because even when you say something wrong, the president will know that you are not reliable. He'll know. So I'm just telling the young people, more especially those in power, that let's just try to be nice. Let's just do constructive, mention, let's talk, let's have that constructive discussion. Let's not have that kind of erratic utterance that will ditch our country.
Okay. Yeah. As we wind up this discussion, what is your last message, especially as a way of comforting Ugandans about all that is happening that has maybe threatened them, and people are already planning for what to do. Some people are even planning to run away from the city come to 2026 general elections because they believe they might be violent, and so it is better the violence finds me in my village and not in Kampala.
Of course, I will say that people have never seen me in opposition. People will definitely know where I belong. Yeah. But what I'm saying is this. I was happy about what happened. Was it the other day? When the opposition was allowed to walk and they also behaved. So we're seeing miracles. I think the government, we're going to see miracles on the side of government, that the government should learn from what has happened, that pushing force into elections or into anything political will only bring the name of the government and the name of the party down. I'm also telling the opposition that let's try to read books like the books of Gandhi and look at several other things. We have, most of the people, many young people tend to read books about the Stalins, the Chinese revolutions. Yeah. Those are violent kind of corners, but they have also had areas of people who have come to politics in a good way, and they have been successful. Yes, the gun may seem to solve things very, very fast, but it leaves a lot of distraction and a lot of trouble. So I believe and feel that the government has learned that these people, we can be nice to the public and only pick out those we believe are doing something wrong. Even when they are picked out, let them be handled well. Let's not flame them and say they want to overtake the government, they want to do this, they want to do the other. Let's just say you have thrown a stone, there is an offense. You have done this, there is an offense. You have abused the president, this is an offense. Let's teach our young people who are supposed to be our leaders tomorrow that level of maturity and being sane.
Thank you so much, Mr. Egesa, and thank you so much to your viewer. Of course, we can go beyond this point. It's been a pleasure having you watching, but just to also remind you that elections are just one day, and we shall live more days. Therefore, if you choose to do it the violent way, you will treat the wounds and the scars forever. But if you choose to have the political environment a peaceful way, then Uganda is for us all to enjoy. Therefore, let us create the Uganda that is accommodative to all of us. These parties just come to, but at the end of the day, we remain one people. We are one, so we are all Ugandans. Thank you so much once again for watching. I've worked with Andrew, I've worked with Esther and Patience, and from the entire team, we wish you a blessed morning.
Issues at hand